Oh, yeah, because that team you're referring to by being dinged up is me. We're not dead yet. We still mathematically are very much still alive in this thing.
You also, can we talk about that before we get into it? I texted you, right? Dude, you make him look like he's like a pipsqueak. This is Jerome Bettis. He's standing next to Tasos, and he looks like Tasos can go like that to him.
Nowadays, I think I could take him.
All right, guys, welcome into H2H. We got NFL week number 11 here. Tasos, with everything going on last week with the channel and starting the new channel, which, by the way, guys, subscribe to the new channel. That is the channel you're watching on right now. We had to prioritize other things. We didn't get to an H2H last week, our first time missing in a long, long time. But, you know, we said it would be our bye week. NFL teams get bye weeks, especially teams that are dinged up and not feeling all that well. So we had a bye week. What do you think of that?
Well, yeah, because that team you're referring to by being dinged up is me. 2-7 right now. We're not dead yet. We still mathematically are very much still alive in this thing. But we need the bye week. I needed to go ahead like a coach. Had to go ahead in the bye week, make some adjustments, rest my guys, kind of refocus the team for the second half of the season. So, listen, we still have, I think, 7 or 8 weeks left of regular season football, and then 3 or 4 weeks of playoffs. So, and we still obviously have our preseason picks that still haven't been measured, although I'm looking pretty good so far. Overall, 5-game difference. It's dangerous. We're running out of time a little bit, but still a lot of time left to go ahead and make a move. So
yeah, I mean,
the pressure's on, but
I don't think we've ever had a bye week, so I don't know what Tasos is like off a bye. I don't know what I'm like off a bye. Like, this could have just changed the entire trajectory of the season. But guys,
which one of us is Andy Reid? Like, could we be Andy Reid off a bye,
exactly.
or is this Nick?
Exactly.
I mean, Nick Sirianni actually been doing pretty good off a bye.
Exactly. So, guys, if you don't know what the show is, we give NFL plays here in H2H, but it's with a little bit of a twist. We spin a wheel each round, seeing what categories we pick from, and we do it in a draft format. So it's a little bit different if you are new here. Obviously, this is more Guy Boston Sports, our 100,000 subscriber channel. Still kind of TBD there. I'll keep you guys posted. But if you're watching for the first time on H2H on the new channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We have a new slice added to the wheel today. It is going to be anytime touchdown scorer. I said I would give a shout out to the person that recommended the one that we add, but we literally got like 20 anytime touchdown score recommendations. So shout out to you if you are one of them. We obviously were engaged in the comments over there, but yeah, Tasos, everything sound good to you? Should we jump into it?
I'm ready. I will give a fair warning. I was in Chicago this weekend, and okay. I did make contact with the Michael Jordan statue. So I don't know if that will change anything. I also touched the Walter Payton statue, and I actually physically touched hands with the bus. So I don't know.
Can we talk about that before we get into it? I texted you, right? Dude, you make him look like he's like a pipsqueak. This is Jerome Bettis. He's standing next to Tasos, and he looks like Tasos can go like that to him. What?
Listen, people, because obviously the way we're recording, maybe people don't know, I'm a very large guy. Like, I'm 6'5", 265 pounds. Like, I'm not a little guy. Like, I'm literally the size of an NFL like defensive end.
I know, but I know you're large, but like this guy's nickname is the Bus too. You know what I mean? Like that. Listen,
I was
crazy.
Shocked. Like, obviously, like I'm a Notre Dame fan. Like, I got to go to the game on Saturday versus Florida State. It was awesome. Notre Dame killed them, but we got to do a little. There was like, we didn't even know it was going to happen. He just happened to be there and was doing like meet and greets, and I go to shake his hand, and I sunned him a little bit, like shook his hand, and I don't think he was ready for the handshake I gave him, and he was a little shocked. I think he was a little shook. I shook the bus a little bit, and
oh my god!
No, I even honestly, after my friends and I, we look back to the picture, and I'm like towering over him, and like I said, this is Jerome Bettis, NFL Hall of Fame legend Jerome Bettis, and I made him look tiny. He looked tiny.
I still think the best part is literally that his nickname is the Bus. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a large object that is his nickname, and obviously it wasn't because he stood super tall. He was just thick as anything. But you just like were all over him. I was like, oh my god. So that's crazy. Like obviously, like I said,
we'll have to share that post because it is rather hilarious. But
yeah, if you have it, we'll put it in here for the people to see.
The question is, do you think I could
Ricky
tackle
Fowler once, and it was the same thing? But I'm not a big guy. But Ricky Fowler was like, I was like, you says you're 5'9" on your bio. I don't think you're 5'9", buddy.
The question that a lot of people commented on my Instagram post was, do you think you could actually tackle him? I did play football. I did play very brief career, but I did play football for a hot minute. Nowadays, I think I could take him. I don't know about in his prime. I don't know about that.
This
But
is when the bus is like in the graveyard. It's worn down. It
yeah,
doesn't
you know,
use. They
he's a
don't
little
use it
older now.
anymore. It's not safe
I
for
think I
kids
could
to
take
ride
him
on.
down now. 20
All
years
right.
ago, not so much.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw the picture. It was crazy. But all right, let's go ahead and jump into the wheel here. Guys, you will see a wheel on your screen. It's going to have my name 3 times. It's going to have Tasos' name 3 times. And whoever it lands on will be drafting first here. And then we'll spin a second wheel to see what category. Seems like you've been kind of riding the high with your activities and touching the Michael Jordan statue and deflating the bus. Like, this might be your week, dude.
Listen, don't. Okay, you know what? I just caught what you're doing there. You're already throwing the
God
jinx at
forbid,
me.
dude. God forbid all this good stuff
Oh,
happens
here we
and
go.
it just rolls right in. God forbid.
You can't take me down right now. I'm riding high. My voice is a little hoarse from the weekend, of course,
Yeah.
but you can't take down my high right now.
All right, let's go ahead and spin it.
I want the wheel too. I'm ready for it.
God forbid you don't. Keep going.
Yeah, I got it too.
All
This is
right,
my
all
week.
right.
I'm telling you, if I
Yeah,
don't win
yeah,
this week, I don't know.
that is a good little sign there. All right, we're gonna jump into wheel number 2 here. Like I said, we added touchdown score, which I think should be pretty cool. To be honest, if that comes up, I'm not the most prepared, but you know what? We'll see what we got here. But 1 Thursday night football slice, 1 plus money play slice, 1 anytime touchdown, and then we have 2 of total spread and player prop and money line. Like normal, if it lands on one, we remove it from the board. Just that 1 slice. So there's obviously the potential to get more than 1. But let's go ahead and spin it. Anything before I do that? You're going first. Anything you like?
I love everything this week.
Oh,
I'm very confident in all my plays.
Oh boy.
The board is mine to dominate.
Oh, okay. Big words from a little man.
Now this could whoa, hold on now. Now to be fair, now that clip can come back to bite me a little bit if I suck this week, that clip's gonna
All right,
age
plus
poorly.
money play. Plus money play.
All right. All right.
I don't mind that one. I don't know if I love it, but you're starting us off here.
All right. I'm starting us off here, and I'm taking a risk. Taking a big risk here, but I do like the play overall. I'm gonna go ahead and rock with the the Bengals on the money line on the game against the Chargers. We're going Bengals money line. It's only plus 105, so I'm not really taking a big swing here. Maybe you could call that being a little soft. But I'm going with Bengals plus 105. I think the Chargers, look, they're a very good team. They've definitely taken me by surprise this year. I was not expecting them to be this good. I do think the Chargers, a lot of teams like this in the NFL right now where they have not really played anybody. And that's my biggest thing with the Chargers is like, yeah, they're 6-3, but if we really go through their wins, they beat the Titans, the Browns, the Saints, the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Raiders. Literally only one of those teams has a winning record, and it's Denver, who has a rookie quarterback, and their offense is kind of shaky.
Yep.
When they played good teams, look at like the good Steelers, Chiefs, Cardinals. They have a 1-3 record this year against teams with the record 500 or better. So this is a Chargers team that look they win the games they're supposed to, which obviously is a sign of a good football team. But I do think that that's one of the reasons why they have the record. I think they benefited from kind of a cupcake schedule. If we look at like the numbers for they have the 25th easiest schedule in the NFL. On the flip side, the Bengals tied for 14th toughest schedule in the league. I think Cincinnati's a lot more battle tested. Again, is a thing of desperation here where the Bengals, it's not looking great for their chances to make the playoffs, but they're not dead yet. Like despite all these losses, like they're playing tough, man. They're losing it. Like, they lost to another close loss to Baltimore, 35-34. This is still a good team overall. Their defense not so much, but I do think that the Bengals are a lot more experienced. I think they're in a little bit better spot here. I just think that the Chargers, they haven't really faced an offense like this necessarily. Again, big step up from Will Levis to Joe Burrow. And Burrow's second half of the year, the kind of that post-November Joe Burrow or post-October Joe Burrow is a different quarterback. His numbers post-October over his career, he's a totally different quarterback,
100%.
way more efficient. This offense in general is more dialed up. I like the Bengals here.
Yeah, it's honestly it was, even when that just came up, plus money play was on my list. I have that noted here for that because I do, just to echo what you said, I like the Bengals this week overall, but also just the fact that they are hitting their stride at the right time. And I feel like the Chargers at some point, and I think it's this week, get that fake confidence of, okay, we've been so good defensively, and then they get smacked in the mouth by a team that this Bengals offense is cruising right now. I know they played the Raiders and it was only 41 points, but going up against Baltimore, putting up 31, like if they can get to 21, 24 in this game, I think it's a wrap. I don't care if the Bengals defense stinks that much. This is still a Chargers offense that I do believe kind of stalls out around, 24-ish points. So if the Bengals can really push that number and keep doing what they're doing, I like it a lot. So I sign off on that.
Well, and the big thing here is like the Chargers, the Bengals defense, excuse me, where they're weakest right now is their pass defense, 23rd right now in passing yards allowed. They're not really, they don't have a great pass rush. They're 29th in sacks. However, the defensive line over the last couple of weeks has gotten healthier, so that number is kind of misleading because a lot of throughout most of the year they've been missing some of their key guys. But the key thing is their secondary is not great. However, this is the Chargers passing attack that's 22nd in the NFL right now. This is not a very good passing offense. They don't really have a lot of weapons. I mean, their number one receiver is a toss-up between rookie Lad McConkey and Josh Palmer. I mean, it's not a very good offense. They're not really, they can run the football, and the Bengals don't have a great run defense, but they're about middle of the road in terms of like rushing yards allowed. So, only 17th there. So, 14th in yards per play. Like I said, the Bengals defense clearly is not a strength, but I do think this Chargers team, they're specifically offensive, I don't know if they're good enough to take advantage of that weakness. So I like the Bengals here. Sunday Night Football too. Joe Burrow under the lights prime time. I just trust them again, and they have way more to play for here. Like the Chargers lose, it is what it is. The Bengals, like they really can't afford to lose any more games.
I agree. All right, I'm going in a direction a little bit more riskier odds here, but I think it's got some value. It is a Thursday night football play, and I'll talk about it in my Thursday night football. It's a player prop. AJ Brown over 5.5 receptions. So he's only hit this line once so far this season. He has hit 5. So 1 out of his 6 games, he's hit the over, right? That's not my bragging point. He has had 5 receptions in 4, or including that one, 5 of the 6 games. So he is going to get the volume. I don't think anyone can ever say AJ Brown's not going to have the volume here, especially against a Washington secondary that, though their numbers look a lot better, when you look into it more, they really have not been playing the best offenses. And this is a Washington secondary that before they went on this stretch against, it's escaping now who exactly they've played, but bad teams.
The Bears,
Bears, Panthers, Giants, like that type of thing. Their secondary starts to look better. This is the type of spot where AJ Brown should be able to get some more volume. And again, did I say the odds yet? Plus 122 for 5.5. Like I don't mind that. And if you look back at what he's done against I almost said the R word, against the Commanders in his last 2 games against them, 8 receptions, and where did it go? 8 receptions and 9 receptions. So he's done okay against them. And again, I think this is a spot in which Washington's secondary, you look at the numbers last few weeks, they look a little bit better, but even still, wide receiver number ones have kind of been torching them. George Pickens, 7 targets, 5 catches. You had Malik Neighbors, almost had 10 catches against them. Zay Flowers, the last sort of, wide receiver 1, that was a few weeks back. He had 9 catches. So I do think this is a volume spot. The one thing I'll say, and I only know about the coverages and whatnot that deeply in this one, is because for Thursday Night Football I do the videos, is that AJ Brown this year has been a lot better in terms of success rate and just even like his DVOA player specifically against zone. Washington hasn't been running as much zone as they were earlier in the year, but I still don't mind it. I don't like that secondary. I think that he can get 6 catches.
Yeah, I don't hate the spot. The biggest thing that I'd be worried about for you, and obviously it's tied to an injury, is obviously the Commanders before the deadline traded for Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints. He hasn't played yet. He hasn't made his Commanders debut. I don't think he practiced on Tuesday. So I that's the key thing. If he plays, obviously he locks up your number 1 wide receiver. That's the one area where I'd be a little concerned. Again, the Commanders' strength defensively has been their pass defense, but like you said, they haven't really played anybody. The one thing that I'd be concerned with in this one is that the Eagles could lead into the running game because the Commanders' run defense is abysmal, 28th in the NFL right now. That's the only thing. Otherwise, I mean, and especially because if you look at the Eagles, their injury report right now, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are both hurt.
Yep.
Now, like you said in a couple of your videos, like this point in the NFL season, like everyone's on the injury report. Usually they're going to play unless it's a pretty severe thing. Those 2 are probably going to play.
Yep.
But in the event they don't, it just increases your chances because AJ Brown becomes that much more important.
Yeah.
Overall, not a bad spot for, and like I said, plus 122. Really solid value. Just for 6 catches, a line like you said, if he hasn't hit it, he's come very close to hitting it in a lot of his games. So I actually don't hit the spot again. The one key thing would be to monitor the Marshawn Lattimore thing, because that could alter things. But as of now, he's not even practicing. So
that's fair enough. Guys, if you are not using Outlier, you are seriously missing out on making some bank with your NFL player props this season. I'll show you exactly how I found that Antonio Brown play here. You can see he hasn't hit it much this season, but when I filtered to head-to-head, right? He hit 9 and 8 last time he played this Washington team. And you even look over here, okay, well, Washington not allowing all that many receptions this far into the season, but to wide receivers, it jumps to middle of the pack, which I love to see. What I also do like is the target share that he's had in both of those games. 13 and 8 targets against the Washington Commanders. So again, he hasn't done much this season. You can see he has the volume, but I love the fact that we're getting plus money. You can even see, even in the video, right, we're recording this the next day after we're editing, and you can see I got some nice value, because what's great about Outlier is you can place your entry right from this screen. Say we want to jump on that on Caesars, right? We can scan it on our phone, or we can continue in browser. It's literally going to put that into our bet slip. We do not have to go digging for it. So go ahead and check out Outlier, guys. If you have not yet, this is seriously a tool that you should be using. Use the link down below. You're going to get 7 days free. It's an absolute no-brainer. After that, if you're like, oh, well, what's the catch? $19.99 per month. You hit a couple of plays. This thing is paying for itself. Link down below. Shout out to Outlier. I will say we are talking plus money plays too. So it's like anyone looking at these being like, oh my God, how could you? It's like, well, that's the point of the show. Like we have to abide by the wheel. But all right, let's go ahead and jump into round number 2. I don't even know what I want this week. I'm not like you. I'm not seeing. I'm not blind to the slate. Like I think there's some good value, but I don't really even know exactly what I want. So let's go ahead and spin it.
Oh, I love
plus money plays off the board.
This is I love the board this week. It's one of my favorite boards in a while.
Are we getting the newbie?
Anytime touchdown.
All right, we are getting.
I'm happy that you get to start, because I'm going to be honest, out of all the slices, this is the one that I'm the least prepared for. Not saying I can't find a pick, but it's the least prepared.
That's what I said to you too. I was like, I didn't. I added that in because I was going through the comments of the last one before we started recording this. So. All right, let's see. I do have a couple here listed. It's just a matter of if I want to go super chalk or not. I guess I don't think that'll be the case. All right, I think I know where I'm going to go with this one. He's been on an absolute heater. At some point, I'm sure that he has to slow down. But for plus 124. The only other book that has this right now is minus 105, so I don't know who's wrong there. Caesars plus 124, DraftKings minus 105. I'm looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown plus 124 against that Jacksonville defense. Could they get up really early and then all of a sudden, even like you just mentioned about the Eagles, lean into the run game and whatnot against that? You would say that, but as we know, Jacksonville's run defense is actually fairly solid. Going up against that secondary, I don't mind this spot in a spot in which I think Jared Goff is in a perfect sort of bounce back in a sense with how he threw 4 picks, right, in that game against Houston. They still won, but like that's a tough spot. He did
5 picks actually. I think he was 5 interceptions.
Was it whatever? Yeah. So it's like was it 5? Yeah. So
he
did.
5,
he is due for redemption, and I think he's gonna find his guy here who has scored. And like I said, we don't like these that much because we say the contrarian idea is that at some point they don't. But Amon-Ra has scored in 7 straight games. I didn't know that. That's ridiculous.
It is, and honestly, it sucks that you said you had to go first, because literally I was looking through all the data. I'm like, oh, that one looks awesome. And then all of a sudden, here you go, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm like, oh, crap. Good pick.
Well,
and Jacksonville's secondary is abysmal. It's been abysmal all season long. Wide receivers are having field days against them. So, good pick. Can't really shit on it. There's really no reason why he shouldn't score, other than, God forbid, he doesn't.
There's really other than the Tasos oh man.
There's no because from a matchup standpoint, like the Jaguars really, really bad. I'm trying to look at what the exact number is. 21st in the NFL. They're averaging 1.1 touchdowns per game against wide receivers. They're 26th overall. 3 touchdowns allowed per game defensively. For plus money too. I mean, it's just great value. And like I said, 7 of his last 10, 78% hit rate so far this year. In 7 out of 9 games this season, he's cashed it only 2 times. The first
it's almost too good. I almost hate it more now.
Oh, am I psyching you out of it a little bit?
You are, for sure. But I think you got the Tasos juju.
You know what? Hitting it 7 times in a row just means that he's due not to hit one.
That's what I mean. So, all right, I'm sticking with it.
All right, I can't be too mad at that. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of piggyback off of one of your plays, a Thursday night play actually. I'm gonna go ahead and rock with Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. It is plus 100 on DraftKings, so a little plus money value there. From a matchup standpoint, there's not really a ton to go off of here. The Commanders overall 20th in the NFL. They're giving about 2.7 touchdowns per game versus quarterbacks. I mean, it's really tough because not many quarterbacks run for touchdowns the way that Jalen Hurts
Whole
does.
different
But
scheme, yeah.
yeah, whole different scheme. But he has actually cashed this in 4 straight games. He's actually had, in 3 of his last 4, he's had multiple touchdown games. He had 2 rushing touchdowns against Dallas, 3 versus the Bengals, and 2 versus the Giants. He did have 1 versus Jacksonville as well. So, I mean, overall this year so far, 6 out of 9. 6 out of 9. That's a good number. 6 out of 9 games so far this year, he's cashed it. Which is a 67% hit rate, and he's averaging about a little over a touchdown per game. The only games he hasn't was week 1 versus Green Bay, week 3 versus the Saints, and then versus the Browns in week 5. So a couple games here and there where he hasn't gotten it, but overall, I mean, there's a line he cashed. Even last year, I mean, you look at last year, including playoffs, 61% hit rate, 11 out of 18 games last season, averaging just shy of a touchdown per game. So, I mean, Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown is just one of those things. It's not as consistent as like Christian McCaffrey per se, but it's just one of those bets where like if you bet it every day, every game, you're probably gonna be profitable.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because we took last week off, so we're nice to each other this week. Because I like that play, and I have a couple supporting things to help you out as well. He has a 42% red zone rush share for this team. That
Yeah.
in the red zone, yeah, which is absolutely crazy. He outranks Saquon, and if you look at the defense of Washington, their red zone efficiency 3rd worst so far this season. So talk about 20 yards in. Like, I know that a lot of those runs are those 1 yard tush pushes and whatnot, but Jalen Hurts also, they'll do the 15-yard design draw. And if he has to make something up and it's a pass play that he ends up scrambling on, the proof's in the pudding there. He outranks every other player on the team, obviously, but Saquon, most importantly, in the red zone rushes this season, going up against one of the worst red zone teams in the entire league. So
Yeah.
I
And even in general,
can't
even
hate it.
outside of the red zone, just in general, 28.7% run share as a quarterback. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
93 carries this year so far this
So
season. So he gets a pretty decent amount of volume when it comes to running the football. He's averaging almost 10 runs a game.
yeah, that's crazy. So, all right, I think that those are two. Now we already have a couple looks here for Thursday night too. Huh?
Yeah.
So
I like Thursday night a lot. I think out of
okay,
I'm not
you
gonna
have
say out of
more.
every game it's my most like comfortable. Like I just think I read the game very clearly. Now I could be completely wrong, obviously, but I think I see that game pretty clearly overall.
Well, let's see. Maybe we'll get a Thursday night here on our
I'm
wheel
hoping
spin,
I
and
do.
you can
I'm
show us
hoping
what
we
you
do.
got. I wonder if we're on the same.
I think so
I have
too.
a
I was just thinking that I'm like based off of the picks we have so far,
okay.
feel
Yeah,
like
I
we're
think
probably gonna be
all right. Then
aligned on what we think.
maybe I don't want Thursday night because that means you're going first, right?
Yeah,
All right, let's
I do.
see.
I would have first play this round.
All right, it's past it. Yep.
It's past it. We're gonna go ahead and get a
Total.
total. Oh, this is you,
Total.
but this you don't want this though, because this is where I come to shine because the Tasos total teases, or the big tease, whatever you want to call it,
Have been
I have not lost on the show. 5-0 so far this
That's
season.
absolutely crazy. All right, I do have a couple totals here that I like. Can we look at totals that like so? I mean, you could just say yes or no because I'm. Are you going first here?
I'm going first.
Okay,
I was
so
waiting for you to. I was waiting for
okay,
you to
no, no,
stumble
no,
a little
no,
bit.
no. I have a
You saved
question.
it.
I have a question on
Okay.
if this, and I think I should ask it now because it'll either let you have your own say on it or whatever. But can we do a team total on a team that's been picked for, say, a money line spread or
Yeah, that's fine.
okay?
I don't think it's double. I don't think it's double dipping. I mean, it
I
is
don't think
double
so either.
dipping, but I don't think in a negative way. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
I it probably
All
doesn't
right.
take
So
too much brain power to figure out what I'm going with, but go ahead.
all right, so we got our total teas again. These total teasers I've been really crushing them lately. And again, Thursday Night Football is it on the target? I love this game. I think I have it pretty much nailed. I'm just on the last second trying to figure out what my second. I have a lot of options here, but I'm gonna go ahead and I think rock with this one. So we're gonna go ahead and do a total tease. So we're gonna go with the over. It's a 7-point teaser. I don't have I never have the odds prepared, but I think it's just intentional at this point. I just don't want the odds because that's your job. I put that on to you. I have the over in the Eagles Commanders game Thursday Night Football 48.5. We're going to do a 7-point teaser, tease that down to 41.5. Those are both not even the Eagles, although their defense has been better of late. I still don't trust that defense. And the Washington Commanders offense has been
Great.
great.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some points scored. And 41.5 is a pretty reasonable total. Not and I don't even hate the 48.5 line necessarily, but I think 41.5 to me is as good of a bet as you could possibly get. And then the second leg of this, I'm going to go ahead and do Dolphins Raiders teaser. We're going to tease the over down from 44.5 down to 37.5. Miami's getting better. Obviously Tua is back. They still are losing some of these games. They did go ahead and beat the Rams on Monday Night Football, so that was pretty big. The Raiders are a dumpster fire. This team's a mess, but the Dolphins, I think, should be able to carry enough of the scoring, and the Raiders should be able to trickle in at least 10 to 14 points. If they can contribute at least like 2 touchdowns, or even 10 points, I think we should be good. Again, we're getting at 37.5 with the teaser. So, if Miami scores 30 plus, which I'm very much expecting, and then the Raiders can add, again, 10, we should be good to go.
I mean, they've scored 20 and 24 in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and the Raiders defense is they can't stop the run. They can't really do anything right now. This team, they're 7.5 point underdogs in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And again, even I say to the people watching this, even if you are sitting there being like, that's a stupid teaser, like the big tease hasn't missed a teaser all year with these totals. So I don't know, what am I supposed to say, right? Like, I'm going to nitpick this one. Like, okay, well, the dude has hit on 10 different teams so far, including these. So I can't actually, would it be 20, right? Because now there's 2 teams per each teaser that has 2 games. Holy crap. So you've technically pegged 20 individual teams based on these teasers.
And the funny thing is, honestly, even with the teasers, most of them hit at the regular line. Like, yeah, the teasers are safer, but I think most of these overs are just cashing. Like, I've had a pretty good eye on these totals.
You definitely have,
this year. But yeah, I just like I said, I think the Dolphins should do a lot of the heavy lifting here. I don't trust this Raiders team is a dumpster fire. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Offensively, they're 25th, so I'm not expecting a ton from them. Although they are top 20 in passing yards, so they can move the ball a little bit through the air on the foot. So this is the 30th ranked scoring defense. They give up almost 28 points per game on average. So if they match that average or get anywhere close to that, we should be good to go. And the Dolphins defense overall, 22.4 points per game. That's 17th in the league. So it's, not a good defense, not a great, not a bad one necessarily either. But again, as long as the Dolphins give at least a touchdown or 2, or, there's some field goals and they can just go ahead and score, we should be fine here. But now that, Tua's back with Tyreek and everything, I think they should have a field day. I'm trying to see. I know these teams played semi recently. I just want to see what the head-to-head was. So the last time they played was last year in Miami, 2013, the Dolphins. So the total actually didn't hit in that one. However, to be fair, that is a year ago, and that's, different Raiders, very different Raiders team at that time. So.
Yeah, I mean, you even look at the rest of the games before that. I know we're digging deep then, but they've been kind of high scoring games. So yeah, like I said, I don't mind it. And based on how you've been cashing teasers, I can't deny it. Now, I did ask you, am I allowed to dip somewhat into the same sauce that you're dipping into? And it is going to be one. It's probably a net positive if mine cashes for you, which maybe isn't the smartest strategy on my side. I like the Bengals team total over 20.5. Paying a little bit of juice here, minus 160 or 65, one of the two. But either way, my point being, and I kind of made that point when you talked about the Bengals, it's like if the Bengals go out there and score, I think they win this game because the Chargers can't keep up offensively. So I do like it. Maybe there's a world in which the Bengals do score and their defense is so bad that the Chargers, score more than them and I catch this and you don't. But overall, it was my favorite total on the board. So I'm kind of sticking true to that rather than getting rattled that you have them money line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I like that pick a lot too, because again, I think if the Bengals are going to win this game, they do have to go ahead and score at least some point. I mean, 3 touchdowns is not crazy to ask. I know the Chargers defense, well, we already talked about. I mean, the Chargers, you go look through their numbers and you might say this is a bad bet because they've held a lot of. I'm looking through the thing. I think only, let's see. I think have they even given up 20 points in a game yet this year?
I know they hadn't when I took the Browns one. Remember?
They have, yeah, they haven't. They haven't given up 20 points in the game. But again, if you go through their schedule, there are a couple impressive ones. Don't get me wrong, but the Raiders, the Panthers with Bryce Young, the Steelers with Justin Fields, the Chiefs, and that was before that was when they first lost Rashee Rice and they lost Pacheco.
Yeah.
So they were still trying to figure things out on short rest and everything. The Broncos, their offense isn't that great. The Cardinals one I think is the most impressive one. They actually lost that game, but they only gave up 17 points. That's I think the most impressive one was the Cardinals one. But then, like I said, the Saints with Spencer Rattler, the Browns with Jameis, and Jameis was a nightmare in that game, 3 interceptions. Then the Titans, I think it was Will Levis. I didn't even watch the game. I think it was Will Levis or Mason
Yeah.
Rudolph. But like
Yep.
the moral of the story being like, yeah, their defense is great and they've held a bunch of teams to under 20. But like aside from like one or two of their games, are you really that impressed? Because I'm not. I mean,
No, I just
The
think
Cardinals and the Chiefs are the only two decent offenses they played. And both, and
it's
like I said, the
exactly.
Chiefs, they had injuries in that game. So
Exactly that. Like the same reasons why I guess we hyped up, and I even agree with your money line play is what I like. Like this is a Joe Burrow that's cooking right now. Their running game, okay, maybe they're not all that great, but Brown is like kind of emerging in a sense. Like if he does get going, sure he runs hard, but this is more or less a my play, especially the. I think this is going to be a like smack in the face type game for the Cincinnati offense to this Chargers team, where they're kind of like, oh, like, yeah, we're still a good defense. I don't think we're saying they're fake or the bad or anything like that, right? But this team should like realistically the way that they're built should be able to kind of air it out and put up 3 touchdowns. And I think if they put up 3 touchdowns, they end up winning the game too. So I guess we both are on that side there. But like I said, I this was my favorite total. I had to stick to it, and maybe I get lucky in a sense, at least for the show purposes, where the Chargers go out there and outscore them, because this isn't a very good Bengals defense. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's why it's not like I'm guaranteeing that even if I cash this, you technically are going to win your side, and it's like a net negative for me. There is still a world that exists that obviously the Chargers could win, and I still cash. So we'll see.
I mean, the
But
data. I mean, not to keep boosting your point, but also it also helps my money line play. They've cashed this over in 7 out of 10 games this year, 70% hit rate. They're averaging 27 points per game. You look at the games, New England, New York, and Philly were the 3 games they failed, and they got pretty close in a couple of those. 17 versus the Giants, 17 versus the Eagles. The key thing for you, I think, and for me too, I guess, in a sense, is what is the T. Higgins situation in this game? I think that's
yeah,
the key, because when T. Higgins is on the field, this offense is a totally different offense.
yeah.
And right now, I'm trying to see what the injury report looks like. I'm sure he's probably just listed as questionable. Yeah,
I think he is.
questionable.
Yeah, and he didn't practice at all last week, right?
Yeah, so that's the key. Like, if he
Yep.
plays, I think this is a lock. If he plays, this is 100% a lock. If he doesn't play, I still think you can get it, but I do think it becomes a little bit more tricky, because the offense definitely isn't as dynamic when you take him out of it. But overall, like I said, I just not like we said, I'm not saying this Chargers defense isn't for real. I'm not saying the Chargers aren't a good team. They are. I do think though that some of the reason why they're good is who they play. They've had a
Yeah.
cupcake schedule, and this is definitely one of the tougher games they've had so far this year. I think this might be hands down the toughest offense they played all season. I don't
I think it
know.
is, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like I literally just think Cincinnati's offense is cooking right now. Like that's why,
Mhm.
you know what I mean. So it really isn't knocking the
Joe
Chargers,
Burrow,
but
Joe Burrow, I'm pretty sure has thrown like, what is it, like 10 touchdowns in his last like 3
he's,
games.
he's on fire.
It's crazy.
Um,
So yeah, I like. We're kind of aligned here, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad
yeah,
thing,
I
but
don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Knowing that you could truck the bus. See what I did there? That's talking about
I
automobiles
like it.
here. Knowing that you could do that, then I kind of I like the fact that I got you in my corner. But all right, we're gonna move into the fade me round here. If you guys don't know what that is, it is the best thing about the show, because it ensures that one person has a win and one person has a loss on the other side. What it is, we're gonna spin a wheel just like we did at the beginning of the show. Whoever that lands on gets to make any play they want. The other person has to fade them, and then they take the opposite. So, you ready for this, Tasso? Sounds like you probably want to call the shot, huh?
I do. I have a lot. I mean, I have a lot of. The one thing that scares me is I have so many options on the board that, like, do I pick the
Really?
right one? That's my big concern. But I do have a lot of picks I like.
Okay, let's see what we got. Let's spin it.
We got
That's
it.
gonna land literally right down the middle of your name.
We got it. We
All
got
right.
it.
Have
Let's
you?
go.
I feel like you haven't had fade me in a while. Is that?
I
Am I?
haven't. I really
Okay.
haven't, and it's been frustrating because I have so every week. Like it's always so funny because like I feel like people they watch the show and they're like, man, he's 2-7 and all this stuff. It's like I'm like 54, 36-3 this year on NFL picks on the
I've
Oracle.
just been. Did you see my? We didn't even talk about this. Like the last week before this show. So when we had before our bye week, I went
Yeah,
10-0 in the NFL.
yeah. And I think the same week you went 10-0. I think I went like 11-3.
Yeah, so it's like it's been like that since the beginning. Even when you won a couple straight, I said you're on fire and I've cooled off, and you were like, you honestly haven't cooled off.
No,
It's
like
like you
even
just
like the difference between you and me this year, honestly, I actually have on this show have had a couple of bad weeks, but overall, like most of a good chunk of your wins, like we're both 3 and
Mhm.
1, and you just beat me out on a units thing. So I mean, we're
Yeah.
both having really, to credit the channel,
I
Both having
definitely
pretty
think so.
solid
Yeah,
seasons.
to credit
But
both channels.
yeah, both channels.
All right, what do we got
It's
for
crazy.
Fade
We
Me?
got 10,000 subscribers in like a
I know,
week on the new
honestly,
one.
it is. It
Really crazy.
is absolutely crazy.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna do something here that's kind of crazy. Don't love it necessarily, but I'm a risk taker.
Can pick anything on the
I'm
board, and he goes, "I don't know if I love it."
well. I like it. My thing is like I feel gross doing it because
Okay.
it feels wrong. I'm gonna get judged by my friends and stuff because I'm going against my own team here. But I like the LA Rams minus 4.5. That's gonna be my pick here. On the fade me. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I was gonna go money line, but I don't want it the minus 218. I don't want that overvalued stuff.
Okay.
We'll go Rams minus 4.5 here. Look, New England, pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie to you. They the last like 3 weeks since they came back from London, they beat the Jets, which I mean isn't too impressive. The Jets haven't been good. They lose the Titans in overtime in a really tight one, and they absolutely blanked. And I was there for that game on Sunday, Bears Pats. They blanked them flat out. They could not. They had 9 sacks, nine sacks
Crazy.
for the defense. Crazy. Um, but I don't think this Patriots team's that good. I think they're
Mm-mm.
getting better, and I do think that Drake May. I'll say it now, so we have it on video evidence. I think he's the guy. I think we have our franchise quarterback for the next decade. I think watching him live on Sunday, like there's a lot of Josh Allen in him. I think
You
he's
had that
obviously not
one throw
as.
where he rolled out, and it's been all
Oh
over
my
social.
god!
It was like,
And I was sitting on that side of the end zone, so I saw it like right there. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like that's crazy. I mean, he's doing things where like Mahomes is like he's switching to his left hand and throwing lefty, and
mhm.
he's great. I love him, and I love his personality, and he really. And no disrespect to Mac Jones, but like he's everything I wanted Mac to be in the sense that like he's he's vocal in the right ways. He's not crying. Like if this was Mac Jones, he'd be bitching and moaning about how he's constantly getting hit, and like Drake May gets hit 90 times a day, and he just keeps saying like, "Hey, we got to go out there and do our job." Like it.
Yep.
He's great. I'm really encouraged by what I see. That being said, though, this isn't a good team. I mean, this defense. Yeah, we had 9 sacks. I think that had more to do with how bad the Bears are. I think this defense at times this year, and you can if we go back through the schedule, they've been getting torched. Now, overall in the season, New England trying to pull up the numbers here. Overall, they're tied for 13th defense, scoring defense, 22 points per game, which actually is not bad. But if you look at overall the numbers, they're 23rd against the run, 16th against the pass. They've had a pretty good run lately of offenses. Like they haven't really played good offenses, and that's kind of the
Mhm.
reason why their numbers look pretty good. If we go through their recent schedule, the Jets, like I said, not a very good offense. That was pre Devontae Adams trade too. Or maybe they had just gotten him. They played the Bears, Titans, Jets, Jaguars in the last 4 games. All those offenses are not good. So I think this little run, as nice as it is, I think it's more just, hey, we finally have a little bit of an easy stretch in our schedule. Now, the Rams coming off of a short week, Monday Night Football loss to the Dolphins. Defensively, they have their own issues, but I think this Rams offense is really good. I mean, Matt Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka, Cooper Cup, like they're healthy right now, and I think that's dangerous for New England. The Rams defense is not very good, but I just don't think New England's offense is good enough to give. And granted, like I said, Drake May will probably put up some decent numbers, and maybe New England will keep it within a touchdown. But I think the Rams should be able to walk away with this win. I just don't think New England has enough, and they've been really, like I said, encouraging. Absolutely, they've been pretty damn good lately. But I think this Rams team is just too good. So I don't know how you feel about taking Pats plus 4.5.
I I don't hate it. Like I know a lot of the times we have like hate on the other side when you get the pick, but I definitely would look at the Rams in this spot if I was just looking at it independently, especially because they arguably played their messiest game of the year. Now you could say that what was it, week 2 or 3 when they played the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Cardinals like beat them like 50-0 to whatever it was. That was messy, but they looked so just in disarray against the Dolphins. Now you come play a Patriots team that's probably feeling pretty high. It's like if this is it's definitely a spot for the Rams and a letdown spot for the Patriots. So yeah, it's not that I don't hate the Patriots plus 4.5. Like I love the fact that it's outside of that 3 number and whatnot. Like I do like that. But if I'm looking at this game honestly and giving you a pick for it, I pick the Rams too.
Yeah, I just like my thing too is like, yeah, the Patriots, like, the good win against the Bears on the road in Chicago, obviously good win, but like if you watch, and again, I not to brag, I was there, I watched the whole game, like the Patriots offense, yeah, Drake May had some plays, but it wasn't like they played a good offensive game. You know what I mean? Like, they
Yeah,
had one
this
touchdown through
bear.
the air
I
to
think that
Jalen
game
Polk.
spoke more to the Bears. Now,
Yeah.
it definitely spoke about the Patriots, and I think that, like you even said, it shows some juice for Drake May. But like this Bears team is just like, I talked about a team being in disarray. It's like their ownership stinks, their coach stinks. You have your star players getting mad at the rookie quarterback. Like their offensive lines. Like this is a bad team.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like I do think the Rams not a very good matchup for the New England. I just think that the Bears couldn't run the ball well, although they had moments. There were a couple moments early in the second half, especially where like DeAndre Swift had a couple of nice runs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for New England, like they scored 19 points. Again, I don't think their offense was great, but Chicago could give them great field position because they were constantly 3-and-out punting. And New England, they were constantly getting the ball like 40-yard line, 50-yard line, 40-yard line. So like, it's tough. I think the Rams also have a pretty decent pass rush. They're like top 5 in quarterback hurries in the NFL. They're tied for 11th in sacks. This New England offensive line obviously is almost, if not worse than Chicago's, just a level above it, maybe slightly better, but like it's a bad offensive line. I do think that the Rams, although their defense isn't great, their strength still lies in their pass rush a little bit. And I do think New England, that's where they can go ahead and cause some chaos, is by pushing Drake May into uncomfortable situations, forcing him to make difficult throws. I just think the Rams offense is too good. I think this is the kind of game where New England's going to have to maybe get in a shootout with, because again, they have Christian Gonzalez, who's fantastic, but he's
Mm-hmm.
only one corner. And
Yeah.
even if you eliminate Cooper Kupp, you still have Puka Nacua, you still have Kyron Williams, you still have Matt Stafford. I just think that this Rams offense is too good. And I think New England, in order to win this game or even keep it to cover the spread, they're going to have to score a good amount of points. I
Yep.
just don't think New England's that good. I don't think offensively they're getting better. I don't think they're good enough. They still don't have any weapons really to rely on. So I like the Rams
Nothing
to
consistent.
-4.5. I think the Rams are due for a bounce back win here.
Yep, I agree with you. So, all right, that is going to wrap it up. How do you feel about your board that you have?
Very good. I feel very good. I make sure you guys tune into the Oracle. I have a full slate this week. I'm very confident about this week. But this is the first time where, like, because I haven't had Fade Me in a while. First time in a while where I feel like I got to give out the picks that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
It was across the board. So I'm feeling really good.
Fade Me can 100% change your entire. Remember, like that. I think it was the video that I got the kicker prop at the very end. You liked your board a lot, right? And then I got Chase McLaughlin, whatever the hell his name is, the kicker of the Bucks, and I was like, that just changed my entire vibe.
I hated the fact that you got it. I hated
exactly.
it.
So that's what makes this good. But guys, before we do close up, I do want to say thank you so much for the support of us on this second channel. More info. I know we keep getting comments like, what's going on, like for probably expected reasons of you guys watching this. Nothing like crazy is going on in terms of what's happening, but we just can't post on the Guy Boston channel right now. I did make a video on GuyBostonSports.com, kind of just explaining. It's like a 10-minute video that I could say a lot more there than I want to here. So if you want to check that out, but it's nothing like get your popcorn ready or anything like that. So I appreciate you guys running up the likes and comments and even subscribing to this new channel. It's been absolutely crazy and really proves to me and Tasos and Trey, like, like you guys are really rocking with the content we're doing here, because yes, we technically last week had to start from ground zero, but the fact that we're already at floor 10,000 is mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it's been crazy. The support's been unreal, and yeah, it sucks what's going on. Like you said, it's nothing like crazy. It's more of I would call it an inconvenience than anything else.
Yeah.
But just keep supporting the channel, keep subscribing, keep liking everything, and like I said, business as usual is kind of the motto right now. We're just gonna keep doing our thing and acting like nothing ever happened. And you know what? If we get this channel to 100K, so be it. You know what I mean? Like I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. But guys, we do appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode of H2H, right? Peace out.